Good evening and welcome into the WNK page. I am George Herbig, G Forecaster here for Weather Now Kentucky. We do have an update for you tonight regarding tonight's severe weather. There is already a severe thunderstorm watch out. I'll get that pulled up and show you what that is here, or where that's for, in just 1 second, I should say. I'm getting that done up right now. I do see one tornado warning just went active. Not in Kentucky, by the way. Just preface that real quickly. Not in Kentucky, but I do see one active for the first part of the line of storms. So we can tell already that this thing is just now getting going up there for our friends in Illinois and Indiana. What they're seeing right now will be heading our way in a few hours, and it's already looking like it's becoming a problem. So I'm just going to get this pulled up real quickly for you, and then we'll get to going here. Let's see here. There it is. Okay. As always, we'll give it probably 30 to 45 seconds before we start to allow everyone that wants to be in here a time to get in here. I know sometimes notifications go out a little bit faster, slower for some folks. Make sure, of course, as we're coming in here, if you wouldn't mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen. If you're over there on Facebook, on YouTube, you can share, copy and share the link to your friends and family. Let everyone get the information. You guys have no idea. If you tune into the broadcast later on and whatnot, I'll ask you a lot as well. The shares help so much to get people informed, especially for an overnight system. First system in a while, overnight system. A lot of folks might let their guard down. So I ask you again, please hit that share button as you're coming into the broadcast. We're going to be waiting a few seconds anyway for just now tuning in here. We have not started just yet. You have not missed a thing. Thank you guys for all the likes and shares I'm seeing come through right now. Hello, Darla. How are you doing? Melanie, hello. Caitlin, Rachel, Aaliyah, hello. How are you all doing? Over there on YouTube, how are you guys doing? Robbie, Kim, C-Mac, hello. Again, if you missed our post that we just made, there is a severe thunderstorm watch that has just been issued. I do expect that here over the course of the next few hours, that will be expanded. I'm going to try to keep this broadcast real short, sweet, and simple. Get you guys the information so we can get off. So we can look at all the new information that's coming in, new data that's coming in. Because now the storm line is starting to get going up in, let's say, central Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. So there's all kinds of information that's available to us now, so we can see what to expect in the next few hours. So let's go ahead and dive on into the information once again. Thank you guys for tuning in here. Let's go ahead and get started here. So the severe thunderstorm watch has been issued as for pink right here, or red, whatever you want to call it. Mainly that covers along the Ohio River and just like, a county or two south. So Bardstown, Elizabethtown, Radcliffe, Mount Washington, LaGrange, Louisville, over to Owensboro, Henderson, let's say Hardinsburg, Brandenburg. You are also included in that severe watch. And I do agree with this for now. So if you're going to ask me, hey, George, is this where you would put it? For now, this is where I would put it. You can argue that obviously, right, if you look at this and look at the tracks, obviously, for you folks up in Florence, Georgetown, Cynthiana, folks up here in northern Kentucky, you probably need to be under that watch already as well. When it comes to going any further south, we have to wait and see how the storms go through northern Kentucky first. A lot of models right now, a lot of data right now is indicating that that line will be extremely strong as it smacks into areas like Owensboro, Radcliffe, Louisville, Brandenburg, Hardinsburg, even over towards Shelbyville, Bardstown. That line will be very strong as it smacks through there between midnight and 3 a.m. Beyond that, models get a little bit blurry. Some models also have it strong through here as well. Some models have it dying down through here. All models have it dying down by the time it gets down here. So that's why I forecast, and I'll show you this in more detail here in a second, but just kind of a precursor here. This is why kind of our forecast looks like this. But again, I'll show you that more information and more detail here in just 1 second. I just want to show you right now the severe watch is setting up right here. And if we look at this, this has really just got going in the last hour or so. We already see 4 different tornado warnings with this storm system. Now, right now, the thing that we're watching for over the next hour is how quickly this turns into a line. If this stays spread out like this, where we see a cluster here, a cluster here, a cluster here, cluster here, those are supercells, right? If they have space in between them and they're alone, they're supercells. If they turn into more of a line, the tornado threat really goes down, right? But the damaging wind risk really goes up. Also, I want to point out tonight something that we haven't touched on. We've touched on, a few times, but I don't think we've touched on enough, is the flash flood threat. We're talking rain amounts that in some places will exceed 3 to 6 inches within a 4 to 8 hour period. That's an astounding amount of rain on top of what we've already seen the last 72 hours for some places throughout Kentucky. The flash flood threat, which I don't think as a society we pay enough attention to, is quite high for tonight, especially for you folks that are in the severe thunderstorm watch. So places like, once again, someone asked if Frankfurt was included. You're not included just yet. But I do think that at some point tonight, depending upon how the storms, once again, depending on how they go through, I think you can add another row of counties to this. So for places like Cynthiana, going up to Florence, Frankfurt, Lebanon, Litchfield, maybe Campbellsville, going to Morganfield, maybe. I do think you can add another row to that. That's what I would do. But again, I understand why they're waiting. You have to see how these storms move once they change storm types. Right now, what you're seeing on your screen up here to the north, up in Indianapolis and going toward Illinois. Why are we looking up here right now? This is what's coming to us in a few hours. It's important. We kind of get a window to look in, ahead to our future. So that's why we're looking up here right now. Right now, it's more of a supercellular mode. Tonight, it looks to be more of a Boeing line. What is a Boeing line? Once again, it's a long line of storms, aka called an MCS or a mesoconvective system. Those usually result in a lot of damaging wind reports and a lot of flash flooding reports, as well as abundant amount of lightning. And you can get some spin-up tornadoes too, which is why we have the tornado risk in Kentucky. But 9 times out of 10, it's more so the damaging winds. I don't want folks to hear that and say, oh, we're not getting tornadoes, it's just damaging winds. I don't know why in Kentucky we have not learned our lesson yet. Between March of 2022, March of 2021, March of 2023, so on and so forth, we've had so many what we call windbag storm systems that have caused even more damage than the tornadoes that we've had over the last 5 years in Kentucky, right? Damaging winds are a real risk, So make sure you're securing outdoor items. You still have some time to do that. Make sure you're staying off the roads and staying indoors, of course, tonight. So what I want to show you now, if they haven't updated, is the SPC's forecast, and they have not updated that yet. This should be updating any minute. It usually comes out at 9 p.m., so it's about 10 minutes late. We'll try to check back in on that here in a second. Let's go ahead and look at the model data real quickly. You can already kind of see here from the screen, that line, it just looks disgusting as it comes through. All that purple and white that you're seeing is extremely. We're talking 2 to 4 inch per hour rainfall rates. Extremely heavy rain. This will be blinding rain. You want to be off the roads by the time this hits you. If not, you will not be able to see where you are going. I am not kidding. That's that heavy rainfall at nighttime, especially if you're going on a street that doesn't have any street lights. Stay off the roads tonight, folks, really. I almost feel like I'm forecasting for a winter storm, telling you to stay off the roads tonight. But truly, you do want to be off the road. So I do want to also point out that this is trending a little bit slower. So originally, when we first started forecasting this 2 days ago, it looked like a 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. type of event. Now it's looking more like a midnight to 5 a.m. type of event. So fortunately, this is a mainly overnight event, or what we refer to as a nocturnal event. So 1 a.m., that line approaches the Ohio River. I can already tell you, though, that if we zoom this out, right? So if we zoom this out just for a quick second, and we look at this, so this is valid. This is what would be right now, okay? So this is what would be right now. If you can see that it has that storm line all the way up in northern Indiana, central Illinois. When I pull up the radar, I want to show you that storm line's actually all the way down here. So this tells me that one of two things. It was pretty much one thing, that these models are way too far north. Here, let me zoom out once more for you because I didn't get that all the way included. So the main line, and I saw your stars, I'll thank you here in just a second, but the main line is actually forming and starting to begin right here, not all the way up here where the models had it, right? So this might be here a little bit quicker than midnight. Depends on how fast these things are moving. Let's go ahead and just take a look at one of these warnings real quick and just get a real quick cheat code on how fast they're moving. So they're moving at about a speed of 15 mile per hour, so they're not moving very fast. I mean, you can drive on a residential roadway faster than that. These things are moving slow, which also aids to the flash flooding threat. Again, if a storm that's that strong, sitting in one area for hours and hours and hours, and you have multiple rounds, the flash flood threat is quite high. So once again, we already see a little bit of a discrepancy. That's why it's important for us to make this broadcast real quick. We're going to make this real quick, and then we're going to get off and look at the new data that's coming in, because we do have some discrepancies that we're already seeing. So once again, let's go ahead and push this back in here. This has the line approaching the Ohio River around midnight, or 1 a.m. Eastern time, I should say, because that's midnight Central time. I do think it might be a little bit faster than that. I think we're looking at about a midnight Eastern time, start time. For those of you that are along the Ohio River, we'll be able to update you on that here in a couple of hours. As I proceed this on through here valid at 2 a.m. Eastern time, you can tell how slow it's moving. So this is the difference of an hour. It's only moved about 50 miles. It's not moving very fast at all. As I push this on forward to 3 a.m. Eastern time, it starts to speed up a little bit. It starts to speed up a little bit. Now we're moving at about 75 miles in that hour time frame. And now this is into Kentucky at this point by 3 a.m. Eastern time. By 4 a.m. Eastern time, now it's all the way down toward the parkways. And I want you to look at what's happening on the front side of this line at this point. At this point, this looks like an outflow boundary that's trying to be picked up by the model data. I know it looks scary and strong, but an outflow boundary for a brief moment will be extremely strong. However, over the course of an hour or so, it will help to weaken that line of storms, which is why we dropped the severe risk as you go more south into Kentucky. As this goes forward to 5 a.m. Eastern time, you can see the result of that outflow boundary. Now it looks much weaker. Once again, if I go back a couple of hours, see all the purples, reds, and whites. Go forward a couple of hours, a lot less. We go forward once again towards 6 a.m. Eastern time. It's now starting to exit the state. Over there for Somerset, Pikeville, your main concern for me would be flash flooding. All right, you see all the rain that's happening over there. That's a wide margin of rain out there for hours and hours and hours. And then we go on to tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, I'm not going to get into it too much, but tomorrow we do have another severe risk. I do want to point it out just real briefly, real quickly. Let's go ahead and go back here to the HRRR 18Z. So this is tonight. Once again, let's go ahead and skip past that. We've already talked about that. Let's go ahead and just take a real quick look into tomorrow. A couple of pop-up supercells possible down there for southeastern Kentucky, but the main line actually comes through tomorrow night, and it looks to hit central and western Kentucky. And the models have been pretty consistent on this, and this will also produce a spin-up tornado risk as well as damaging winds, flash flooding, etc. So again, another line kind of like tonight, but a little bit more west for tomorrow. And the SPC already has a risk out for tomorrow as well. I do think that this slight risk will be expanded a little bit to the east for tomorrow. But again, I'm not going to talk on that too much because we have tonight to get through. So has this been updated yet? This has been updated. I don't see any changes to this. Do you guys? I don't see any changes to this. A level 2 out of 5 risk from the SPC still exists for much of western and central Kentucky, going up to northeastern Kentucky. They have not updated anything else on this yet. Let me refresh this once more. I don't think anything else will really change on this anyway. So a real quick video on this. Basically, what all that mumbo jumbo means I just said, just a real quick summary, is nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is a little bit slower on the timing. The threats, the locations of impact, all remain pretty much the same as what we've been forecasting here. So here's your risk map for Monday. Also, maybe Monday into Tuesday morning. I probably could have worded that a little bit better on the title there. But Monday into Tuesday, that red zone exists all the way from basically, let's say, Breckinridge County to going up toward Florence and maybe just north of Lexington Metro. And again, if you kind of look at the radar, so we made this map about 7 hours ago, I believe, about 6 to 7 hours ago. If you look at the radar and look where the severe thunderstorm watch is that they just posted 30 minutes ago, you can see that they have it basically from Henderson, Kentucky up toward Frankfort, not including Frankfort though, going up here towards Cynthiana, Kentucky. And if you look at our forecast map, that red zone almost pretty much matches. But I do think that that severe thunderstorm watch has a chance to be expanded a little bit further. That yellow zone is a very thin zone from Owensboro to Litchfield to Campbellsville maybe to Danville to Lexington, just north of Moorhead going toward Mount Olivet in northeastern Kentucky. And then the green zone, 1 out of 5 risk, Madisonville to Bowling Green to Somerset to Moorhead to Ashland, Kentucky. That's where we expect storms to really just be massive rainfall makers. A few isolated pockets of some 60-mile-per-hour winds, but nothing too widespread in our opinion, unless this thing really holds together and keeps going. The main area of impact is absolutely that red zone, where spin-up tornadoes, damaging wind gusts of 60 to 75 mile per hour, some ping-pong ball-sized hail, as well as flash flooding and maybe even emergency flash flooding possible in that red zone. So again, red zone is definitely the top place to be watching tonight. So basically places from E-Town, Louisville, Breckinridge, Meade County, going toward Barstown, up toward Frankfort, Florence, Kentucky, Cynthiana, so on and so forth. So again, our forecast really hasn't changed overall too much here. Here are your severe risk from Monday heading into Tuesday morning. The hail was a 2 out of 5 risk for red, a 1 out of 5 risk for yellow, no risk for the green, which I think you still might see some very small hail in green, but it's not severe hail at that point. For the wind, it's a 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 risk for the green, a 3 out of 5 risk for the yellow, and a 4 out of 5 risk for the red. Once again, red being the most area of impact there. Tornado risk, I think it's really only in the yellow and red zones. Yellow 1 out of 5, red 2 out of 5. I don't think the tornado risk is anything massive tonight. Do I think we'll see a couple of spin up tornadoes? Absolutely. I think it's possible. I'm not going to guarantee it, but it's absolutely possible. The damaging wind risk and the flash flooding risk are the two main concerns for tonight. I think they're pretty much equal. 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. Eastern Time will impact much more of the region with damaging winds, flash flooding, and spin ups. Damaging wind gusts of 65 to 75 mile per hour will be the primary threat. So that's our forecast. That's the SPC's forecast right there as well. Let me go ahead and see if they've updated the other portions of that forecast for you real quickly. They have, and there are no changes, which is pretty. I think that's on par. We haven't really changed our forecast too much either. I think you could have edged the. I think you could have hatched a wind risk, but they haven't. But that's not a big deal at this point. Here are your latest timings, by the way. I meant to show this to you as well, and a lot of people have been asking about this. Just put this. I know we saw it on the model data, but just to show you a little bit better here. Here are your timings. If you look on the left side of the screen, well, I kind of messed that up. There we go. Left side of the screen of the actual map there, it shows the times, and then the boxes correlate to the colors along with the arrows. So again, the northern portions of Kentucky being that 12 to 3 a.m. time frame, and it'll start to speed up quite a bit. 2 to 4 a.m. being that middle portion of Kentucky, 3 to 5 a.m. Now you're starting to get into the southern portion, that green area, that green box, and that white box down there is 4 to 6 a.m. For southern portions of the state. All of these maps, by the way, are already on all of our social medias. So if I went through them too fast here, they are on our pages on Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. You can go ahead and scroll through those if you like. But that's our broadcast here for now. I'll get to a few questions, but I'm not going to take too many because I want to get to the new information that's coming out. Again, if you're just now tuning in here, this broadcast will be on our page. You can go back through and skip through some portions of the video and find out information that you may have missed. Matt Grace, I think BG will be just fine for the most part. Maybe I think strong thunderstorms are likely, but when it comes to the severe threat, you're definitely at the lowest risk compared to northern Kentucky. Owensboro is in our 3 out of 5 risk. Got to make sure that you're staying tuned for severe weather updates tonight. Sherry, Deb, Maria, hello over there on Facebook. I appreciate you. And Kim says she's shared on Facebook and is watching on YouTube. Thank you so much for your support on both sides. We appreciate you. All right, that's going to be it for us. I don't want to get to making this too long of a broadcast because, again, I'm going to get back to looking at the new information that's coming in now. Of course, if there are any last minute changes, I will post them on our Facebook and our Twitter. Yes, we will be live during the event as long as the storms warrant it, which I think they will. So we will be live during the event for you until the storms begin to die down on both Facebook and YouTube. So make sure you turn the notification bell on YouTube and Facebook on. And we'll be back here soon with you guys. Again, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. If you missed any of the information in the video, you can always go back and watch it at your own time. And all the information is on our page as well. Our forecast has not changed much all day long, so it's all right there for you. Until next time, stay safe, Kentucky.